Welcome to industrial timber, where raw power, sharp steel, firewood processors, homemade splitters, industrial saws, and serious wood processing machines turn heavy timber into usable material with speed, pressure, and precision. From a veteran's perspective, the Samokvalov splitter is exactly the kind of machine that can change the game. After years of working around log splitters, it is rare to see a design that looks this efficient, this direct, and this practical. It does not waste movement. It does not look overcomplicated. It simply applies force where it matters and turns heavy wood into clean pieces with impressive confidence. Alexander has clearly built something with real potential here. If this machine ever goes into production, the demand could be steady and strong, because this is not just a clever homemade idea. This is real craftsmanship backed by power. Then comes the Auto Split 630, running a 20 horsepower Honda GX 630 paired with a smart box wedge. That combination makes splitting wood look almost effortless, even when dense sycamore enters the machine. The engine supplies the muscle, the wedge controls the split, and the result is exactly what firewood producers want to see. Clean, consistent piles of ready-to-use firewood. It is simple, effective, and built around output. If you are tired of backbreaking labor and inconsistent firewood, the Cord King steps in like a serious industrial answer. With 58 tons of splitting force, this machine does not politely ask the log to open, it forces the wood apart. No stubborn round stands much of a chance once that hydraulic pressure comes in. But the real upgrade is the 1/6 way wedge. One log can become 16 clean pieces in a single cycle, and that changes the entire rhythm of production. Then the Tumble King finishes the job by cleaning away debris and leaving the firewood refined, consistent, and ready for winter. Problem solved. Winter is coming, but with a setup like this, the wood pile is already under control. When it comes to efficiency and raw power, the cheapo 8010C has serious presence. With a massive 780 horsepower Cat engine producing around 320 cubic meters per hour, this is not a small-scale backyard machine. Pair it with a man truck and an Epsilon crane, and suddenly you have a mobile wood processing system with real industrial versatility. This is where smart engineering completely changes productivity. The machine does not just process wood, it gives businesses a practical way to scale output, reduce handling time, and keep material moving. Then we meet the Maho Slicer Dicer, a machine that makes huge logs look manageable. Logs up to 1.2 meters are handled without drama, powered by a 48 horsepower Deutz diesel engine. 5 pieces in 5.5 seconds is not just fast, it is production level speed. The conveyors keep the workflow smooth, The hydraulics make the machine mobile, and the trailer-mounted design means it can go where the job requires. This is not just a machine sitting in one place. It is a mobile partner in wood processing. There is something deeply satisfying about a compact homemade setup that splits a log perfectly into four with one clean push. No hesitation, no wasted struggle, no oversized engine screaming for attention. The motor is small compared to the amount of work it saves, and that is exactly what makes the design interesting. It raises the real question: how many winters could someone get through with one reliable homemade machine like this? For small-scale firewood work, that kind of practical efficiency matters. Next comes the Binderberger WS700 FBZ, a powerhouse on wheels. When teamed with the Deutz 5006 tractor, it brings 48 horses of raw strength into the firewood operation. Running the PTO at 1,000 revolutions per minute, this duo slices through firewood with clean mechanical confidence. The setup is not flashy for no reason. It is about precision, power, and dependable performance. This is machinery that earns respect by working hard. Then we enter the modular world of Growy machinery, where the entire concept is built around flexibility. These machines fit together almost like industrial Lego blocks, letting customers build the system that matches their actual workload. The same logic applies to the cross conveyor, which can work with both the X-Power system and the T-Rex vertical log splitter. From basic mechanical splitters to fully automatic saw splitter systems, Growy has clearly focused on covering different production needs instead of forcing every customer into one rigid setup. That kind of modular thinking is exactly where modern firewood production is headed. The homemade drum saw is another fine example of practical engineering. Its rotating drum design is built for efficient cutting, durability, and long service life. Every component, from the motor to the drum itself, appears designed around performance and reliability. A machine like this does not need to look polished to be impressive. What matters is that it cuts consistently, handles the workload, and keeps going. Then we move into a more advanced firewood production system with the GAE 8000 and the X-Power 65. The GAE 8000 prepares the logs with accuracy, setting up each piece for the next stage. Then the Growy X-Power 65 steps in with 25 tons of splitting force, turning those prepared logs into clean, properly sized firewood. This is not just wood processing. This is a coordinated workflow built around safety, efficiency, and repeatable output. For anyone who appreciates industrial process design, this pair is a clear example of innovation done with purpose. Drop a 1-inch in the comments if this level of machinery actually impressed you. Your support helps industrial timber keep bringing more powerful wood processing systems, firewood production setups, and real machine performance from the field. Then we get something completely different, a fully restored 1940 John Deere Model B running a buzz saw at 15 revolutions per minute with a homemade tensioner. That is vintage power brought back to life. The old engine, the spinning blade, the mechanical sound, everything about it feels like a working piece of history. It is not modern, but it has character. Seeing a classic tractor still doing useful work reminds you that good machinery can survive generations when it is built right and maintained properly. Then comes a scene that is hard not to laugh at. A car that once carried groceries is now tearing firewood apart like a working machine. It proves that old engines and recycled parts still have plenty to give when someone has enough creativity to repurpose them. Still, with that much power and sharp steel involved, a kill switch would not be optional. A setup like this may be clever, but safety has to stay ahead of the fun. Maintaining clear sight lines and managing storm-related hazards in urban areas requires strategic vegetation work. Proper pruning and removal are not just about appearance. They protect roads, homes, power lines, and people. When machines like the Tiger Cat enter the job, the power-to-agility ratio becomes a major advantage. For this kind of work, a machine must be strong enough to handle heavy material, but agile enough to operate in difficult areas without causing unnecessary damage. Then a new driver has one of those nervous moments everyone remembers. Starting out around machinery can be stressful, especially when the equipment is heavy, visibility is limited, and every correction feels bigger than expected. But that is part of learning. Every experienced operator had a first rough day. The important thing is staying calm, learning from it, and not letting one mistake become a bigger problem. Next comes a homemade log splitter with a clean minimalist design. A 5.5 kilowatt motor and a specialized drill bit give it enough bite to chew through wood quickly. From the video, it moves through softwood with impressive ease, but the real test is harder material. Oak, maple, and other dense hardwoods are a different battle. A machine can look powerful on softwood and still struggle once twisted grain and dense fiber enter the equation. That is where real performance is proven. Then comes a close call. The operator almost goes down hard, and for a second, the whole scene changes tone. Luckily, he is all right. But moments like this are reminders that wood processing work is never completely harmless. Machines move fast, wood shifts unpredictably, and one small mistake can create a dangerous situation immediately. After rigorous testing, the next woodcutter proves itself as a reliable tool. The sharp blade cuts without snagging, the motor runs smoothly, and the whole setup feels controlled. A safe, quiet, and dependable machine has real value for woodworkers who care about consistent results. Not every tool needs to be extreme. Some earn respect simply by doing the job cleanly. Then someone takes an old union system and turns it into a firewood processor. It is fully customized, rough around the edges, and not quite on Cord King's level yet, but the potential is obvious. If they can make the saw retract faster, this setup could become a serious machine. Competing with machines worth over $120,000 sounds ambitious, but this is exactly how innovation starts, with someone modifying what they already have and pushing it further than expected. Then comes the giant log that has been sitting in the yard for an entire year. Not a branch, not a small round, but a full wooden monster taking over the space. Now the time has finally come to break it down. This is the kind of firewood job that looks simple until the first cut begins. Size, weight, grain, and handling all become part of the challenge. Stick around, because taking the yard back from a log that big is serious splitting work. Then we see a classic wood splitter with a massive engine and even a smaller backup engine mounted on top. The design is unusual, but that is part of the appeal. A wedge welded directly to the piston, the cylinder head removed, and a layout that looks more like a workshop invention than a factory product. It is strange, clever, and clearly built by people who understand how to turn available parts into working power. And yes, it would have been nice to see firewood rolling out the other side tied neatly with string, but maybe a few too many parts were scrapped for that. Still, the machine works. It may not be perfect, but it does the job, and that counts for a lot in the world of homemade equipment. Then comes the reminder nobody should ignore. Do not put your hands in the way. Firewood machines can look slow from the outside, but once the blade, piston, or wedge starts moving, there is no time to correct a bad decision. Respect the machine, respect the moving parts, and keep your hands where they belong. Finally, The Cord King Model 48 brings the episode back to serious production machinery. Powered by an 80-horsepower John Deere engine, this machine is built for simple, fast, reliable output. You drop a log in, and before long, it comes out as firewood. That is exactly why machines like this become favorites. They reduce labor, speed up production, and turn rough timber into a usable product with industrial consistency.